Trouble in the shed. Sir Topham Hatt sat in his office and listened to the noise outside. The passengers were angry. The station master came in. "There's trouble in the shed, sir. Henry is sulking, there is no train, and the passengers are saying this is a bad railway." "Indeed," said Sir Topham Hatt. "We cannot allow that." He found Henry Gordon and James looking sulky. "Come along now, Henry," he said. "It's time your train was ready." "Henry's not going," said Gordon rudely. "We won't shunt like little tank engines. We are important tender engines. You fetch our coaches and we will pull them. Tender engines don't shunt." "Oh, indeed," said Sir Topham Hatt. "We'll see about that. No engine on my railway is too important for small jobs." And he hurried away to find Edward. The yard has never been the same since Thomas left to run his branch line, he thought sadly. Edward was shunting. "Leave those freight cars, please, Edward. I need you to push coaches for me in the yard." "Thank you, sir, that will be a nice change." "There's a good engine," said Sir Topham Hatt kindly. "Off you go." So Edward found coaches for the three engines, and that day the trains ran as usual. But when Sir Topham Hatt came next morning, Edward looked unhappy. Gordon came clanking past, hissing rudely. "Bless me," said Sir Topham Hatt, "what a noise!" "They all hiss me, sir," answered Edward sadly. "They say tender engines don't shunt, and last night they said I had grey wheels. I haven't, have I, sir?" "No, Edward, you have nice blue ones, and I'm proud of you. Tender engines do shunt, but all the same, we do need another tank engine here." He went to a workshop and they showed him all sorts of engines. At last he saw a smart little green engine with 4 wheels. "That's the one," he thought. "If I choose you, will you work hard?" "Oh, sir, yes, sir." "That's a good engine. I'll call you Percy." "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir," said Percy happily. And he brought him back to the yard. "Edward," he called, "here's Percy. Will you show him everything?" Percy soon learned what he had to do, and they had a happy afternoon. Then Henry came by, hissing as usual. "Cheesh!" said Percy suddenly. Henry jumped and ran back to the shed. "How beautifully you wished him," laughed Edward. "I can't wish like that." "Oh," said Percy, "that's nothing. You should hear them in the workshop. You have to wish loudly to make yourself heard." Next morning Thomas arrived. "Sir Topham Hatt sent for me. I expect he needs help," he said to Edward. "Shh, shh, here he comes." "Well done, Thomas. You've been quick. Listen, Henry, Gordon and James are sulking. They say they won't shunt like little tank engines. So I have shut them up and I want you both to run the line for a while." "Little tank engines indeed," snorted Thomas. "We'll show them. And Percy here will help too." "Oh, sir, yes, sir, please, sir," answered Percy. Edward and Thomas worked the main line, starting at opposite ends. They pulled the trains, whistling cheerfully as they passed by. Percy puffed along the branch line. Thomas was anxious, but both driver and conductor promised to take care of Annie and Clarabel. There were fewer trains, but the passengers didn't mind. They knew the 3 other engines were having a lesson. Henry, Gordon and James stayed shut in the shed for several days and were cold, lonely and miserable. They wished now they hadn't been so silly.